Okay, let's talk about it. That heart-stopping moment, the dreaded carpet stain. We've all been there, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly what to do, the first response rules that can literally save your carpet. And more importantly, we'll reveal the one huge mistake that could be making things so much worse. So, picture this. You're just chilling, enjoying your morning, and then bam, it happens. The coffee, the red wine, it's all over your beautiful, clean carpet. Your first reaction? Total panic, right? You probably sprint to grab whatever cleaner you have under the sink. But what if I told you that very first instinct, that rush to fix it, could actually be the worst possible thing you could do? And right here, this is the single most important thing you need to hear today. This quote comes from the pros at Four Seasons Carpet Clean. And believe me, it is a total game changer. Because here's the deal. Using the wrong stuff doesn't just not work. It can kick off a chemical reaction that basically glues that stain to your carpet fibers forever. All right, so to make sure that never happens to you, here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get into the anatomy of a stain. Then, we'll talk about the quick fix trap. After that, we'll cover what you should do, your first response. Then we'll look at how the pros do it, and we'll wrap it all up with a simple playbook you can use anytime. So, let's dive in. Okay, section 1, the anatomy of a stain. I mean, it makes sense, right? You can't really solve a problem until you understand what you're up against. Okay, so a spill isn't just a mess sitting on top of your carpet. Think of it more like a chemical reaction that's just waiting to happen. On a tiny, microscopic level, the molecules from that spill are desperately trying to grab onto and bond with your carpet fibers. And that's why acting fast is so important. But it's also why throwing some random cleaner on it can be a disaster. You could accidentally trigger the very reaction that makes that bond permanent. And that whole risk of a chemical reaction, well, that leads us straight into our next section, the quick fix trap. This is all about those gut reactions, the things that feel like the right thing to do but can actually cause damage you can't undo. So you grab that spray bottle from under the sink, right? Well, here are the 4 big dangers. First, it can set the stain permanently, just like we said. Second, it can literally bleach or discolor your carpet. Now you have a big light patch that's honestly worse than the stain was. Third, it can mess up the carpet's texture, making it feel all rough and weird. And finally, and this is a big one, it makes a professional's job way harder. Now they're not just cleaning a stain, they're trying to reverse a chemical mess you accidentally made. And just so we're crystal clear, this isn't just about those store-bought chemicals. I'm talking about all those DIY hacks you see online. You know, the ones with baking soda, vinegar, dish soap. They can be just as bad, sometimes even worse. Sure, it might look like it's working at first, but they often leave behind this sticky residue that just becomes a magnet for more dirt. So the takeaway here, just put them down. Step away from the vinegar. Okay, enough of what not to do. Let's get to the good stuff. What is the right way to handle a spill in those first few critical minutes? This is your expert-approved first aid for your carpet. So, for a liquid spill, think coffee, wine, juice. The process is super simple, and the key word is calm. Step 1, grab a clean, dry cloth or some paper towels and just blot the stain. Don't scrub, just press down firmly to soak up as much of that liquid as you can. Step 2, get a second clean cloth, get it just a little damp with plain old water, and gently dab the area to lift up any little bit that's left. Now, this is a really important shift in how you think about this. Your goal here is not to clean the stain completely. It's not magic. Your goal is containment. You're just trying to stop the stain from spreading and pull up the excess before it has a chance to soak in any deeper. That's it. That's the whole job. And this really shows you why that technique is so important. When you blot, you're lifting the stain up and out of the fibers. But our natural instinct when we're panicking is to rub and scrub, right? All that does is spread the stain and push it even deeper into the carpet. So if you remember one thing, remember this. Blot, don't rub. But what if it's not a liquid? What about something like mud or food or makeup? Well, the idea is pretty similar, but you want to avoid water here, because water can just turn a dry mess into a muddy disaster. Instead, just use a dry cloth or maybe the dull edge of a spoon to gently lift away as much of the solid stuff as you can. The key is to lift, not press it in. Okay, so you've done your carpet first aid. You've contained the spill. Awesome. So what's the final step to actually getting your carpet back to 100%? Well, that brings us to the professionals. So why bring in an expert? In a word, experience. I mean, the folks who informed this explainer, they have over 8 years of this stuff under their belts. Think about that. That means they've seen pretty much every stain you can imagine on every type of carpet out there. They're not just guessing. They are diagnosing the problem with a ton of expertise. And their process? It's basically science. First, they figure out what your carpet is even made of. Is it wool, synthetic? Then they use a specific pH-balanced pretreatment that's designed for that stain and that carpet. Next comes the powerful hot water extraction that gets way down deep. And the final crucial step, they rinse and pull out everything, so there's no sticky residue left behind to just attract more dirt later. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, so let's wrap it all up in a neat little package with our final section, your stain removal playbook. Think of this as your emergency cheat sheet. All right, here it is, the playbook. On the don't side, don't panic, don't rub or scrub, and please don't use bleach, vinegar, or soap. On the do side, do blot with a clean, dry cloth, do gently dab with a little bit of plain water, and do lift away any dry gunk without pressing it in. And their final do, call a professional as soon as you can. It's that simple. So now you know the secret. The next time a spill happens, you won't panic. You'll be armed with the knowledge to handle it calmly and correctly. It kind of makes you look at those old stains differently, doesn't it? It makes you wonder, how many of those supposedly permanent stains could have been saved if we'd just known what to do in those first few minutes?